Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi class, how are you? I miss you like a lot. I wish that you are all healthy as always. Please remind the physical distancing. Don't wash your hand regularly and don't wear your anytime you go outside. Okay. So class, today we are going to move to our second meetings in material development. Today I'm going to talk about why should be material development. Well, learning materials is one of components of learning which is very important. There are some components of learning, for example, teachers and students learning material, learning evaluation, and also learning media. And learning materials is one of the most important parts of the learning process itself. When we talk before we talk about what is material development, let's talk about learning materials itself. What is learning materials? Learning materials is all the materials that you use on the teaching and learning process itself. It can be pictures, it can be text, it can be textbook, it can be a newspaper, magazine, and so on. So all the materials that you use on teaching and learning process, it can be called as a learning material. So why then we need material developments? Because can we just use the textbook? There are some there are some conditions which um, what is it? The textbooks is not perfect. The textbook doesn't suit the learner needs. That's why then we need material developments. Okay, so before that, let's talk about what is material development first. You already got what is the learning materials. Learning materials is all the materials that is used in teaching and learning process. And what is learning material development? Learning material development is anything which is done by writers, teachers, or learners to provide sources of language input in ways which maximize the likelihood of intake. It is by Tomlinson. So, apapun yang dilakukan oleh guru gitu atau siswa atau penulis gitu yang digunakan apapun yang dilakukan pokoknya guna menyediakan materi pembelajaran yang dapat memaksimalkan intake gitu, penerimaan bahasa, memaksimalkan proses pembelajaran itu disebut dengan pengembangan materi. So all the process, oke? Okay? Sampai di sini paham ya? Nah, apa saja sih yang maksudnya yang bisa dikembangkan? So what is the focus of learning material development? It can be anything. So letters, your productions can be anything. It can be textbook, workbook, cassette, CD-ROM, video, handout, newspaper, paragraph, or anything which presents or informs about the language which being learned. Okay. So remember, the learning materials is not only textbook. Learning materials is not only text. It can be pictures, it can be newspaper, it can be magazine or anything, which is done by the process of what later we are going to talk about the stages. Yeah. So why MatDev? Why don't we feel enough of the textbook? Why don't we just feel enough about a piece of paper, a piece of worksheet, a piece of student worksheet? Why? Why should we need MatDev, material development? The first is about learning materials which are really suitable with the needs of students are not always available. So we have to realize that not all not all textbook should fit all students. Gitu. Tidak semua buku teks cocok dengan semua siswa. Tidak semua buku teks cocok dengan semua kondisi siswa. Yang pertama. Dan hampir tidak ada buku yang terlalu sempurna untuk semua kondisi gitu. So why material development is needed. Jadi misalnya kamu punya textbook, aduh kurang ini nih nggak sesuai nih sama kondisi siswa saya. And then you are doing an improvement, you are doing a restructuring of the textbook, of the materials, you are inserting CD, you are inserting a video or whatsoever to provide the learning sources, then it can be called as a learning, it's a learning material development. Got it? Okay. Then why again? What else? The teachers can develop their own materials for the learners to achieve the objectives or to fulfill the needs of the learners. So you are the teacher. You are the one who knows the conditions of the students. You are the one who knows about the circumstances, conditions, your students' level of knowledge, your students' levels of acceptance of materials. You are the one who really knows about it. Okay, so first you have to identify what is the conditions of your class, your students, whether you have to use what kinds of different instructions, so then you can structures, you can manage your learning materials through the material development itself. Okay, so to make the objectives achieve maximally, have to develop some learning materials, okay, to suit to your students. Then you will fulfill the needs of your students. You are gonna be so zolim if you know about your students conditions but you still use the materials which doesn't suit with their conditions. Okay, it's gonna be your problem, whether the objective will be not achieved maximally, whether your students will not understand the materials wholly. Okay. Next, teachers' experiences and understanding of their students are very important in material development. That the student will be motivated in learning the target language. Remember, motivations is very important. If you are a good teacher, if you call yourself as a good teacher, then you have to be able to develop the learning materials which appropriate to your students. So then they will feel motivated. Oh, the learning materials is so good. It's so me. So then they feel motivated. Okay. So I hope that you got it. I hope that you understand about what is learning materials, why do we need learning materials in the classrooms, why then we need material developments in our classroom. Okay, that's the key things that I want you to understand first. Okay, so learning material development is not only composing or producing a textbook. No, okay? I want to talk about my books first. Until this time, I already produced three books, okay? Three registered textbook: literal reading, public speaking, and songs and games for teaching TEFL. And all of my books are based on research. Okay, based on research. The literal reading books is about the literal reading textbook for teaching literal readings. But it it consists of different types of text. It has arts, music, arts. It has text for the students who loves about religions. It has text, other types of text based on students' preference. Kalau biasanya kalian baca buku teks itu biasanya kan dikasih sama dosen satu teks. Silakan baca cari. Ini enggak. Dalam buku yang saya kebuat, um, teksnya macam-macam. Terserah kalian mau pilih yang mana. Kalian silahkan pilih yang kalian suka. Kalian ke agama, kalian orangnya religius yang agamis, silahkan baca yang agamis. Kalian lebih suka musik, silahkan baca yang tentang musik. Kalian suka yang sport, silahkan baca yang sport. Pada intinya kan saya hanya minta kalian mencari main opini, main idea, supporting idea dan sebagainya. soal jenis teksnya kan tidak masalah. Yang penting learning objektifnya tercapai. Itu yang maksud saya dalam material development. Itu yang dimaksud dengan differentiate instruction. Kalian memberikan instruksi berbeda, gitu, perlakuan yang berbeda, tergantung kondisi dari kelas kalian, gitu. Seperti itu. Jadi dulu research-nya adalah saya mengidentifikasi, mahasiswa di kelas saya itu sukanya apa sih? Mereka dari seluruh genre. Oh, ternyata ada 3 besar. Ada yang suka agama, seni, dan sports. Jadi saya menyediakan 3 jenis tersebut. Kayak gitu. Kemudian saya juga 50 permainan dan 50 um, lagu yang bisa digunakan untuk mengajar young learners. Kenapa sih gitu? Kenapa sih? Saya suka aja. Saya suka menyusun learning material. Saya suka menyusun buku. Saya suka membuat materi yang menurut saya akan membuat pembelajaran lebih maksimal. Itu yang harus kalian tanamkan ketika kalian mau menjadi seorang educators. Kalian harus punya selalu feeling untuk mengisi gap. There is always gap in the classroom. There is always a hole in the classroom that you as a teacher you need to fill it, make the class complete. Okay. So that's the art of teaching. So how hard you try to be a true educators, how hard you want to make your students to be a success persons, how how much you love your students. That's what I want you to have. Okay. So next, I have a material development principles by Tomlinson and Rogers. So there are basic principles in conducting materials development. The first, material should achieve impact. Materials should be relevant and useful. Materials should require and facilitate learner self-investment. Materials should take into account that learners have different styles and different effective attitude. And the last one, materials should permit a silent period at the beginning and also give opportunities for outcome feedback. So now your job, I don't want you to feed up only by me, but I want you to dig in. I want you to know it by yourself. Please, next after this, access your LMS again, and then you will see the assignment from me. The assignment says, please look for what is the meanings. What does it mean by these principles one by one? What does it mean by material should give impact? What does it mean? I want you to know it by yourself, okay? And then you have to type it, please, and then send it back to the LMS. The submission deadline says at the end of this class. Okay, so please try to seek it by yourself, then you will be touched by the principles. So then later, when you are going to develop your own materials letters as your project, you already know, okay, is my does my materials already giving impacts? Does material is material already relevant to real life? Is it useful for real life? Some things like that. So first, now please look for an informations and paraphrasing the information give me by using your language. Please don't do the copy paste. Okay, you can seek from the Tomlinson's book. You can search another informations, and please use your language to explain and describe what is the meaning by each principles, okay, and submit it. Okay, so class, that's all for today about the why should we do the material developments. I wish that you could get some things from this, and then see you next week with another material. Okay, see you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.